speech, but I would have loved to join the debate. Excellencies, distinguished leaders, colleague diplomats in the room, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon or good evening for that matter. It is a great honor and privilege to address you today at this maiden high-end Congress of Economic Diplomacy that brought us together in Dubai with the aim to discuss ways of advancing global economic harmony. I want to thank the organizers for your kind invitation to the Embassy of the Republic of Rwanda in UAE to partake in this very important conversation going on. This Congress comes at a time that we think is really the right time, at a time of a global reset following the COVID-19 pandemic that has spared no nation, has gripped businesses of companies and individuals, and Rwanda has not been an exception. But again, I'm glad that we can now speak without masks, an indication that something is coming back to normal. Rwanda's approach in trying to fight the pandemic included very enhanced measures to flatten the curve of the COVID-19 transmission through strong prevention, expansion of testing and treatment centers and capacities, and also a discipline of following the rules as guided by the experts, by the health experts. And I must say, it was also pretty much supported by the huge trust the citizens have in their government. The quick rollout of COVID-19 vaccination campaign has provided yet another area of hope that the future is promising. Rwanda has set a target of vaccinating 60% of the population by the end of next year. And with a population of about 13 million, we have now vaccinated close to 3 million, which is around about 20-25% of the population. With all these combined efforts, Rwanda has gradually opened and reopened the whole country to business and tourism as well as MICE events. The global recovery necessitates strong international collaboration, strategic investments, and the ease of trade and doing business. It is imperative to make the best use of economic diplomacy in reshaping our collaboration as we build back better to the normal business. It is not arguable that economic diplomacy has remodeled and galvanized the international trade and business order, gainful for all parties. The urgency of win-win trade and investment remains vital to achieve sustainable development cooperation. I liked the previous debate that really touched on both bilateral and multilateral players in making this happen. Just to give you a bit of background about my country, Rwanda, so that you can, it's not, I can't do enough justice to the story of Rwanda in 10-20 minutes, but I just whet your appetite and give you some Rwanda is a country that recovered from the disastrous effects of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, the darkest part of our history in recent times. Rwanda has seen its economy growing remarkably over the last 2 decades after the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. The GDP following that has risen 14-fold between 1994 and 2019, while the GDP per capita increased sevenfold over the same period, according to data from the National Institute of Statistics. And according to the World Bank, Rwanda registered an average GDP growth of around 8% per year pre-COVID, with a double-digit growth recorded in the last 2 quarters of 2019. Rwanda's efforts to fight COVID-19 are also translating into economic recovery. After the recession of 2020, which was really the worst post the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, the 2020 recession, as a result of the pandemic, we achieved a meager 3.5% growth in the first quarter of 2021. But the good thing and the good news is GDP growth has risen tremendously after that. And in the second quarter of 2021, we registered 20.6% growth. That's according to data from the National Institute of Statistics. In Rwanda's context, trade, businesses, and strategic investments have been a cornerstone of our country's growing economy and social welfare. Rwanda's visionary leadership, ambitious policies, and targets have laid the groundwork for a booming economy and a rising business hub, attracting investors from the Gulf region and across the world. As indicated by the World Bank, Rwanda is the second easiest place to do business in Africa, where investors only need 6 hours to register a business and also to start their investment. And that is thanks to the extensive, transformational 10-year business reform journey that the country has been embarking on. Historic and growing cooperation between Rwanda and brotherly countries in the Middle East, notably the UAE, has chartered a conducive environment for investments, trade, and tourism. To give you an idea, in 2020, Rwanda withered through the COVID-19 global crisis and recorded investment commitments worth 1.3 billion and is expected to generate 25,000 jobs. Out of that, investments from the Middle East amounted to close to $100 million. Out of Rwanda's exported merchandise and services worth 1.2 billion recorded in 2020, Asia accounted for 71%, with the UAE itself accounting for 61%. Having the UAE as at the top of Rwanda's formal goods export destinations with 61% in 2020 cannot be disassociated with investments such as DP World that has established a state-of-the-art dry port in Kigali, the recently launched e-commerce platform Dubai.com, the 4 weekly flights of our national airline Rwandair that continue to connect our two peoples, but also new investors like Kesna International that established in Rwanda high-end 5-star resorts in the hospitality sector. From 2019 to May 2021, Rwanda and UAE trade reached $1.6 billion, and over that period, exports accounted for 66%, while imports had a share of 44%. And with new markets such as these, Rwanda expects to see increased trade flows in the whole Gulf region and beyond. Traditionally, economic diplomacy has been a wellspring of networks for win-win growth that has been key to delivering Rwanda's Vision 2020. The forward-looking Rwanda is leveraging that foundation to further achieve Rwanda's ambitious Vision 2050, which is ahead of us. The Vision 2050 articulates the long-term strategic direction for the country and for the Rwanda that we want. The aim is achieving sustainable economic prosperity and development. This translates to Rwanda becoming an upper middle income country by 2035 and a high income country by 2050. There is no doubt that networks like this Congress give renewed impetus to achieving our targets. Market expansion for goods and services, promotion and attraction of foreign direct investments, and tourism flows altogether. There are many reasons why Rwanda stands out as a top destination for investment and travel. I'll give you a few. Rwanda is among the top 40 countries in ease of doing business worldwide. To be specific, Rwanda is the 38th easiest place to do business in the whole world, according to the last doing business report by the World Bank. Rwanda is the least corrupt country in East Africa, among the top least corrupt countries on the continent. Rwanda is the first transparent country in Africa, a safe country for everyone, a liberal open economy with an open visa on arrival for all nationalities, and an emerging hub for MICE and financial services. In addition to business-friendly regulation, the country offers exceptional incentives, including 7-year corporate income tax holiday for investors investing over $50 million. And very recently, this incentive was extended to some sectors, lowering the investment threshold for the purpose of boosting economic recovery amid COVID-19 pandemic under the program called Manufacture and Build to Recover, aiming specifically to incentivize investment in the manufacturing, agro-processing, construction, and real estate sectors. With highly digitalized and efficient administration, allowing to register a business in only 6 hours, and free of charge, by the way, full foreign ownership and unrestricted capital flows, capital gains exemption on sale or transfer of shares, special economic zones, the emerging Kigali International Financial Center, and other hubs that are emerging, including ICT, Rwanda positions itself as a ripe market for investors. While these incentives are actually generous, the opportunities that Rwanda presents are broad and strategic. By trading and investing in and with Rwanda, you're not only eyeing the market of 13 million Rwandans, but you are also setting foot in the center of East Africa, a market that is home to 177 million citizens with a combined GDP of $193 billion. Over and above that, you're also setting presence on a continent that connects 1.3 billion people across 55 countries. And again, all this with a combined GDP valued at $3.4 trillion. For any investor considering Africa for growth and expansion, the opportunity has never been as lucrative. Just to give you an idea of the African Continental Free Trade Area, one of the largest free trade areas since the formation of the World Trade Organization, which opened for business in January 2021, the incentives that this trading bloc offers are immense, both for African businesses and the rest of the world, as it creates a single market with free movement of goods and services, reduces trade costs, and recent studies have actually shown the trade area itself and the regulations that are being harmonized and the incentives that are being put in place potentially can reduce trade costs by over 20%. And of course, with simplification of customs procedures and all other previously difficult red tape. So given her strategic location in the heart of Africa, Rwanda serves not only as a proof of concept country and a springboard for a safe gateway to the entire continent, but is home to your investments, to your businesses, and to your people. Rwanda's competitive incentives cut across different sectors of investment, We have huge opportunities in manufacturing. I liked the conversation here, my colleague from Uganda talking about the nature of our exports being predominantly raw materials. There is a huge opportunity for value addition on the continent. And the value addition is not only limited to Rwandan or African investors, it is open to global investors. We have huge opportunities in tourism and hospitality. As you may know, in most of our countries across Africa, the weather is one of the best. In my country, for example, the coldest it ever gets is like 18 degrees Celsius, and the hottest it ever gets is 30 degrees. So with such weather, you cannot miss any opportunity. We have huge opportunities in real estate, given the huge demand for housing, both commercial and residential. We have huge opportunities in mining. We have opportunities in water and energy, renewable energy to be specific, health, education, and many others. I'm happy to share with you more details on offline in terms of the specific opportunities in each and every sector. With these few remarks, I would like to conclude by thanking you, the organizers of this wonderful forum. I would like to say that the time to do business, the time to invest in Rwanda, the time to invest in Africa was yesterday. Today is fast moving. Don't wait any longer. Let me conclude by thanking the International Union of Bilateral Chambers of Commerce and Industry for organizing this wonderful meeting and for inviting me to share with you our story as Rwanda, but also as part of Africa. I thank you very much.